Mic check, check, mic check, check. What's going on, Insecticidal gang? It's your boy, Insecticidal 151. You see me squinting a little bit. It's because we've been cloudy all day and the freaking sun has decided to finally show up right when I wanted to record a video. So one thing you might notice that's a little bit different is the audio. This is not a bug or caterpillar crawling up the side of my face. I invested in a microphone, which I've talked about in a couple of my videos where the audio got kind of screwed up. But we are here. Mic check, check. We are here. I appreciate all of you for still tuning in despite audio issues and just trying to figure this technology piece out. But we are here. So as you can tell by the title, today we will be discussing an issue that can happen to your plants called rhizome rot. I had a little bit of it happen near the end of the growing season, so I just wanted to record a really quick video just explaining what you should not be looking for, just because saving your plant from rhizome rot is all about early detection. It's a lot of like how our bodies operate. If you get to it early, you can usually save your plant. Not always though, but you have a higher chance, a higher probability of saving that plant from dying if you get to it early. I have my favorite plant, which was the very first plant that I ever named. I named it after a transformer because I'm a big Transformers fan. It's Atropurpurea flava that I got from Flytrap King. I nicknamed it Hot Rod. This thing is a straight beast, and it was just, it was throwing pictures left and right. I'll put in the description a video of that specific plant from last growing season, last summer. When I went on my honeymoon in August, when I came back I came back in mid-August. Let me slow down so I can calm. I'm excited. So I came back from my honeymoon in mid-August, and I started to notice that a couple of my plants didn't look right. Flavas are known to be an early season plant, so I didn't think much of it. I just said, hey, it must be winding down, getting ready for dormancy. So I left it alone. But then another week goes by and another week goes by, and I started noticing that the plant was still throwing pictures up, but those pictures were like dying a day or two after they were open, or sometimes they wouldn't open at all and would just flop over. So I started to understand that something was wrong. So I started doing some research, and I noticed first telltale sign for me was that my plants pictures were dying from the bottom of the stem going up versus the normal growth habit of Sarracenia, where the top of the picture starts to rot and then it funnels down to the bottom. That's normal. But when you have a rhizome issue, the plant literally can't sustain the pictures. So they're dying at the bottom because the growth point is infected, and then that disease, or that whatever you want to call it, the symptoms are traveling up the picture from the main plant. So I noticed that on this plant, I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I do? And I started doing a whole bunch of internet research and talking to a bunch of my plant friends. And, I came across an article, which I can't even find it anymore, but I read through somebody's process for how they would try to save their plants. And it involved dividing it and fungicides and all kind of stuff that spooked me. But I knew I had to do something if I wanted to save my favorite plant. So what I ended up doing was I pulled it out, sprayed all of the medium off until I just had roots and rhizome. And then I could really see, oh my God, the main growth points were dead already. They were brown. That's another thing. If you start seeing them turning brown, it's almost too late. You need to act immediately. So I started noticing them turning brown, and it just didn't look really good. It didn't look like a healthy plant. So I found the division points, and I just started snipping where I could, just cutting the rhizome up. And after I took all the dead away. And when you're doing this process, I went over this in my repotting video. My trimming video for winter. You want to spray your scissors or your pruners or whatever you want to spray those with alcohol before every single cut. I think I was using a razor blade. Same thing. I was spraying that thing down because I wanted nice, clean, and consistent cuts every single time. I didn't want to take scissors and then, hack at it. I took a razor blade, sat it down, and pushed it straight through the rhizome. And what you're looking for is you'll see brown decay within the rhizome. When you see that, that's rot. Spray your razor or your scissors again. Chop again. You want to chop until you find nothing but fresh white rhizome. That's what you're looking for. So I did that, and some of them I had to cut all the way back. It was really bad to where it's just a growth point and maybe a root or two coming out of it. That's not really good. So, I'm chopping, and after it was all said and done, I ended up with 5 divisions. I had 5 pots of it that I chopped up and I threw out, and I threw out the stuff that I couldn't save. And I took those indoors and put them under lights. And you don't want to put a rotting plant in like a water tray with plants that aren't suffering from the same thing. Like basically it's same divisions. So I kept all of those together by themselves so that they wouldn't infect other plants. Because if they're sharing water, whatever that bacteria or fungus is traveling from this pot through the water into another pot. So we didn't want that. So I kept those by themselves. And I think, if I remember correctly, this was around September or October when I did all of this. Lo and behold, 3 of those divisions died, unfortunately. So I was left with 2 with my fingers crossed. I had 1 of those 2 that would not picture. It kept throwing leaves up, aborting them, I kept it, I nurtured it, didn't bother with it. The other one was a little more aggressive than that. So I'm pleased to say that I think we have not 1, but 2 different divisions of the plant, totaling 5 growth points that I think we were able to save. So I want to show them to you. So I'll go off of the single one first. So this is it. This is one of them. As you can see, I've got an open picture, and this plant just has extraordinary color. This is one of the old leaves that was on it originally. I left it on for photosynthesis. I can chop this back now, but I'm not really messing with it at all. But this picture came up really nice. Just want to see if you guys can see it. You can see the color. The inside of the mouth turns a really nice yellowish green color. Oh, let me see if I can get it out. Oh, there it is. But yeah, this thing is a monster. So I've been tracking this one. This one's opening now. This is what Sarracenia look like as their pictures open up. And excuse me, the sun just broke again. But this one's, out of all of them, this one is the biggest picture that's coming up. It's probably about 8, 9, maybe 10 inches. But that's your growth point right there. And then you can't really see it on this video, I don't think, but there's a tiny bump back there on that growth point. That's another growth point coming in. That is all good. So I'm thinking that this one should be good to go. Fingers crossed. Next, we'll take a look at the other one. Now this one is going off. It's going slap off. We'll start at the bottom first. We'll start in the pot first. So as you can see, excuse me the way I work my camera, I'm going backwards. I've got 4 growth points in this one attached to 1 piece of rhizome. And this is a testament to how vigorous this plant is. I want to show you. So each growth point has between 3 and 4 pictures. So if you look at this one right here, let me see if I can do this a different way. So can you see this little one that my finger's moving? That one, this one, and these two are all attached to one growth point. And then coming on over, it's this one too. That's 5 pictures attached to one growth point. So this one that's about to open, this one that's already open, you got a little guy down here, you got this one, and then this one. These 2 are spent. I've been fertilizing these to death. This is the same plant that was on my fertilizer Sarracenia video. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. Yes, you can fertilize them, just with some, some common sense and some provisions. So here's another picture coming up. Here's another picture that just opened. And this one has one more coming up down here on this growth point. This one, the third growth point, had this little one that came in deformed. But look, don't trick yourself into, oh, it's deformed, it's messed up, whatever. As long as it's open, you can fertilize that thing. Get some growth out of it. So I hit that one. That's from the third one. And then the third one has this little guy coming up. And this big one right here. And I think that is it. Yep. And then the last but not least, the fourth growth point has this one that just opened. It's got a bigger one that's coming up right here. It's got another one that's coming up right here. And then it's got one that's coming up right here. So yeah, I think I was able to save my plant. So what I plan to do this time is, once these growth points have matured to the point where I can divide them safely, like they don't have their own root systems and stuff like that yet, so it's gonna be a while. But once they've matured to the point where they have their own root systems, I'm gonna divide all of these up into 5 individual plants. And I'm gonna send 2 or 3 of them out to a couple of my friends for them to hold on to it for me, just in case I have another issue. But yeah, I'll go over my process on what I did after I chopped it up. I know I'm getting a little long-winded, so stick with me. But after I chopped it up, what I did was I took a bowl full of fungicide. And I use a fungicide called Eagle 20, EW. I mix up a gallon of that and then put it in a bowl. And I took all of those growth points and soaked them in the fungicide for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. It was really, I had to mix up some new soil because you don't want to plant them and you want to get rid of the old soil because that can infect if it's something in there that can infect your other plants. So I took the old soil, dumped it, made new soil, had to get the pots together, all of that stuff. And then what I did the plants were soaking in the Eagle 20 fungicide. So next, what I did was I took some live sphagnum moss. Live sphagnum is known to be antifungal. Does it work or not? I have no clue. But I did it anyway because I wanted the highest chances for my plants to survive. So what I did, another thing that I saw on the internet was cinnamon. After you chop the plant, sprinkle cinnamon. Cinnamon is also antifungal. I was doing all of this. So I took some cinnamon, I sprayed it over all the open wounds from me chopping the rhizomes up. Sprinkled cinnamon on all of the open wounds, and then I pressed live sphagnum up against those open wounds and planted them with live sphagnum right around the open wounds. So you can see, this one is very interesting. I had to chop this one twice, from the front and the back of it. You can see. So as you can see down in there, I've got some live sphagnum. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. I got live sphagnum right there, right up against the open rhizome. And then I have more right here, right up against the open rhizome. And live sphagnum is antifungal for what they say. So I used that to try to keep whatever was attacking the plant at bay. So after I got all the pots ready and the plants got to soak in that fungicide is a systemic fungicide. So what that means is the plant soaks it up and it stays in the plant and fights away whatever could be bothering it. So, like I said, I lost 3 of those divisions. They just dropped dead after a couple weeks. You know, it would look like they were doing good. They were throwing leaves up and phyllodia, and then they would just kick the bucket. So I immediately snatched them out. I didn't let them sit in there because I didn't want infection to run rampant. And now I'm left with those 2. I'm hoping that this video saves someone's plants out there, because the last thing that we want is to deal with our plants dying, especially from rot. And then it sucks even more when we don't know what to do to help ourselves and our plants. So if you see something, inspect it, and inspect it quickly. Time is of the essence. You want to get on it, and you want to get on it quick. If you see something, inspect it. Don't be afraid to snatch a plant out the pot, clean that thing off, and really get down into that rhizome and those growth points to see if anything looks off. Rhizome, the growth point, we'll start there, which is the crown where the pictures come out. I'll show you again on this plant. This is the growth point. This should always be really fleshy, red color, white color, or green color. You want to see that on those growth points. If you don't, if they're brown, you know when something looks dead, when a plant looks dead. You know how dead flowers look, where they lose their color and they just turn that brown, just lifeless color? When you see that, you have an issue. And you want to get in there and figure out what it is as fast as possible. If one of the growth points is dead, sometimes the growth points will rot from the front and go back into the rhizome. You chop into that growth point until you find the white. Find the white, do the same process. I would pull that growth point off and check the back of the rhizome too. If the back of the rhizome looks okay, you can plant it and see if it'll take. Sometimes they'll take, and you'll have, other growth points popping up off of that one. But you just want to attack it, whether it's thrips or aphids or mites or whatever is bothering your plants. You want to get on it as soon as possible. That's the wrong time to not be aggressive. You want to be as aggressive as possible. I appreciate y'all checking out my new video with my new mic. I hope, like I said, this saves someone's plants. I hope this helps someone identify when they may have an issue so that they can attack it, chop that thing up, soak up some good fungicide. I got the Eagle 20 off of Amazon. You can check there. Of course, you can find it readily on the internet. It works for me. I sprayed it on everything. I put it on my seedlings. I put it on my seeds. That was, if you watch my seed video that I posted a couple weeks ago, that was the spray that I was spraying on the seedlings before I put them in the refrigerator so that they don't grow mold. It doesn't grow mold on anything. That stuff is a beast. And when these plants wake up for spring, they're getting sprayed again. We're going to attack stuff before it attacks the plants. So I appreciate y'all checking the video out, and we'll see you guys soon with some more information. We all about information now that y'all can hear me. See y'all later.